Hello and welcome to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. My name is Adam. I am the community manager of Franchise Hockey, and with me, as always, digitally pictured on your screen is FHM producer Jeff. Say hi, Jeff.
Hey, everybody.
And we are back in back-to-back weeks with Back to School Episode 2. Jeff, we are in the NCAA Division 1 playing as the Wisconsin Badgers. This is, of course, a new mode, or rather a new league for FHM 9, and we started it last week. And Jeff, how's it been going so far?
Oh, well, 2 wins so far, not too bad. Show you the schedule of what we did. Both against Ohio State, 4-1, 5-2. The big problem is, though, I think we did this in the preseason. Yeah, it was in the preseason because he hasn't got any stats yet. Corson Kuhlman's our best defenseman. Right off the bat, ruptures a tendon in his foot and is gone, going to be gone for a good chunk of the season. So that
Uh,
was not a fantastic way to start. But regardless, we pulled together and we're won the first couple of games. And one thing you should see here, the way the schedule is formatted for college, you play on Fridays and Saturdays mostly. There's a few dates that switch up when you get around Christmas and later in the year. Well, no, it's mostly just Friday and Saturday through the whole year. So we'll have this pattern of playing a couple of games and then we'll have a few days off, but the games will always be back to back.
yeah,
So
Overkill ASC in our uh, twitch.tv/franchise hockey manager chat, as we are streaming currently on three different platforms, or rather three different channels, asks, how often do non-Americans join college teams?
pretty often, obviously, a lot of Canadians go down, and it's increasing. Increasing numbers of Europeans are showing up. So
Yeah,
that's
there's,
actually good.
I was going to say, there's actually a fairly large amount of, I think it's Swedish goaltenders have started showing up in,
Yeah, Finns
uh,
too. The guy in Harvard,
yeah.
Koskenkuo, is a Canucks draft pick.
And so there's some concern over that. I saw an article not that long ago.
What about
Well,
foreigners in general, or
same thing that like when the Canadian leagues banned European goalies for a while.
which was silly, but
Well, that's same thing.
but anyhow, just an update on the update. Hang on, let me get a little bit of news before I get to that. Okay, we got Daniel Latch, one of our better defensemen, particularly with Kuhlman's out, is back, ready to play his first game of the season. We are ranked fifth in the country, and
Huzzah!
I think this is from the hotfix update, so I think you should be doing a better job of figuring out these rankings now, and it does kind of make sense. Arizona State started 4-0, number two defending champion Denver, which is 2-0 to start the season. Michigan, another good team. Providence may be a little bit high, but that mostly makes sense to me, I think. Okay, and Horbach, one of our other players, day to day. Okay, so he's out, but wait, how did I do the D? Okay, I'm just going to reshuffle the lines. One of the things you're going to wind up seeing with college is you're paying more attention to the game to game stuff, changing lines around. Um, I was happy with the tactics, so I think I'm going to leave them the way they were for now.
Now we should mention, because this has come up, Jeff, if you start running into injury rashes, as we did last week, what do you have to do? Because you can't call anybody up to your college
Yeah, what you've
level.
got in case you get in, if you wind up with a serious injury problems, is the action menu. You've got the walk on options, so you can specify the position you want, and a guy will appear of that position with no scholarship. He probably won't be very good. It's unlikely to get a good player this way, but he will. The way the game does it is the first player it'll look for is an actual existing player in the database who wants to play college hockey, isn't on a team anywhere, or I think it might pull from lower level college teams as well. And he'll show up at your school as a walk on. It's presumed he was attending school there and just waiting for a chance to play on the team. So you get him. Otherwise, the game will generate a new player for you if there's no real player of the appropriate position available. But that guy will be terrible.
But he's a body.
He's a body. Yep, and that's what you need. Okay. I think, yeah, Lucius on the second line. Caulfield's brother on the on the fourth. Yeah. Actually, I want to take a look at the St. Cloud. St. Cloud NCHC. All right. Okay, not that strong. There's a couple of decent players meeting in the Finnish guy. Does he belong to anybody? Leafs pick. And you see, they got a couple of, speaking of the non Canadians and Americans, you can see St. Cloud's got a couple of Finns and a Czech defenseman. But I think we're a little better than them, so let's send that. And 3-1 win to keep us undefeated.
All right.
And game scores, Stang had a really lousy defensive game. Have to keep an eye on that. But everybody else more or less in the middle. Yugnoth, the best defenseman we've got now, has had a pretty good game. And 3-0, so do I start the backup tomorrow?
Absolutely. He deserves a game.
Yeah, it's one thing, I mean, with the constant back-to-backs, it's going to be a little bit of a different experience for, somebody's hurt, with managing your goalies. Great.
Yeah, you have to be aware of what's going on.
Chaz Lucius' brother Cruz got suspended. And we will swap in no other obvious wingers, so I'm going to swap in Brown. Whoops.
The other thing I would point out is it's hard to plan too far in advance because you're also worried about losing your top guys at any given point. If they decide to go to turn professional.
Yeah. Okay, and you should start the backup. So McClellan will go in, and Mo's still cold, unfortunately. I don't think we're really challenging him yet. And comes up with a 3-0 shutout. Nice. And Stang, who had a terrible game in the first game, comes up with a couple of assists. And yeah, much better. Great effort from him. Good comeback. 5
Excellent.
shots, 2 assists, 82 game rating. And look at that. Everything happened in the first period. All 3 goals, and then...
well, sometimes that's what you need.
Yep. The shots, that's... Yeah, actually, I shot them pretty bad in the second, and the third got really quiet. Okay, so anyhow, now that we're back to the little gap between games, we're working on the next update, probably out sometime late next week, most likely. Making good progress, found a few, dealing with some of the stuff that's been reported so far. Found and fixed a bunch of stuff already, so we'll be testing that shortly. This version I'm playing here is still the release version of the game. It's the same one you guys have got, so nothing different in this. And one thing I've been working on the last couple of days, 2-3 days, is filling out the prospect pools for the basically the primarily 2007, also some guys a year on either side of that. It's a little thin for the starting QMJHL and OHL and WHL drafts. And yeah, it's actually I think some 2008s too for the WHL. So I've been filling that out with real guys who are playing right now, and I think it should be noticeably better. We did a little bit of work on that in the hotfix, but it'll be a lot better after the update. Those first couple of drafts in junior won't be quite as empty, and the player quality will be ready.
It's always fun trying to guess how well a 15-year-old is going to do.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of rough them in to begin with, and then gradually as the years go by, or even as the season goes by, Wait, what do I want to do here? Hornbeck or... Well, Master looks like he's off to a slightly better start than Kerr. Are they both? They're both juniors. Yeah, what else have we been doing? I'm basically just working on the stuff that's been reported so far. So, yeah, ideally we're going to get that out towards the end of next week because I'm actually going on vacation middle of the week after, so it's got to be done before that. And then what we'll do is start while I'm gone. They'll start working on the Christmas update, which will be the first content update where we'll add new things to the game. The one thing I think we're pretty definitely going to do is a bunch of new achievements, but there'll be other things on top of that. And weekly poll, we're up to number 2 overall. Did Michigan lose? Michigan lost, so they slipped quite a bit. And we still got a few undefeated teams left around the country.
Oh, maybe they're dealing with some injuries.
If the league screen, by the way, sorts by winning percentage, so you can see it's okay. 5 of us left. Long Island University actually undefeated. That's a bit of a surprise. And what's Michigan got going on? One defenseman injured, Edwards. Other than that, nope. Who'd they lose to? Uh, 3-1 to Boston University. Oh, one other thing I've been working on, the NCAA schedule was kind of not great in the first version. I had the home and away teams flipped. And I think Brown and basically the Ivy League teams scheduled a bunch of games after the version of the schedule that I originally built our schedule around. So that's the bigger schedules added in. They won't be just playing 23 games every season. Okay, Minnesota Duluth, we are back to something approaching full health on Coolamans. And I'm going to start Mo against UMD, and we lose in overtime, so there sort of goes our undefeated streak, although we're getting a point out of that. And Mo with the .97 goals against average. Well, we're averaging less a goal than a goal against a game.
Interesting.
That's even with our best defenseman out. Nice. Okay, and one thing I can do when we're in back-to-backs like this, check for guys that are low fitness, like Yagnoth is, I'm not sure low, but they're 2 of our better players, so I'm not going to move them out. Same deal with Stramel. Well, Stramel wasn't really producing this year. He's a freshman, but that's kind of a surprise. I expect him to be doing more than that. And I'm going to try Mo in for the second game, see if he can get a win back. And we lose in overtime again. Although Stramel at least scored. So we're sort of undefeated after 6 games, just didn't get any wins out of that series. And you can see we're in the Big Ten, which is really in hockey, the Big 7, is a really tough conference where we've actually dropped down to 5th place in the standings because most of those teams are going to be dominating their non-conference opponents. It's still pretty solid defensively, maybe like a little bit more scoring, and we are very rapidly approaching National Signing Day. We'll get to see that briefly. Oh, a fantastic game this week is against the top-ranked team in the country, and the only undefeated, counting overtimes, team left, Penn State.
Fun.
Everybody's at 100%. I'm going to go with Mo, but I think I'll give McClellan the second game. And Mo comes up with a 3-0 shutout. Maybe he gets both games in. So we just took down the arguably best team in the country. And the division is so competitive, they go from the best team in the country to the third best team in the conference.
Oh, that's impressive.
Should also say that since I've been playing this in debug mode, and there's a question on the forum about this. Why is this showing up in the stream, and why? I think somebody got it in their own game. If you've got the settings option turned on from the start screen for, was it? I think it. Does it say enable debug mode, or is it something?
Yeah,
else?
yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Yep. Mode. Okay. It'll just pop these little serial numbers up for the messages and do a couple other things. And that's just to make it easier for us to track. If there's a problem with the specific message, we can track it down easily to which part of the database it's from. All right, anybody hurt? Anybody tired? Basically the same guys as the last time. Erdal is a little worn out, so I'm going to put Brown in for him. But on the third line. So Mo got the shutout. He's going to get another start here, but loses 3-1 to Penn State.
Winnipeg Jets prospect.
Ashton Calder, hat trick for Penn State. So they're back on top, and we're into fourth, and that is our first real loss of the season on overtime. And no, not quite up to the signing day yet. We'll get another set of games in before then. The recruiting update email, when you're in the regular game or when playing as a club team instead of a college team or pro team, you'll get this replaces the scouting email that you normally get about free agents, and it'll just tell you the top uncommitted prospects in the country. So these are maybe guys we'd want to look at. Actually, I think I probably did this last time, but yeah, all of these are on my watch list already. I don't think that's gonna. Oh no, no one wasn't. Oh wait, did I leave these guys off the watch list because they were committed somewhere already? Yeah, I should be scouting them anyhow because I can still go after them on signing day.
Question. Sorry, did you answer Kel the best question?
No, it didn't. So I'm only watching the OTP chat.
Okay, well, on Franchise Hockey Manager, he said, will conference records be prioritized in the standings rather than the overall record?
Not at the moment. Yeah, I was just actually thinking about that earlier. And yeah, maybe we should be doing that. Although, I know we can track that separately, but maybe a little messy to display. I have to think about that one. Development report. So these are the, it's going to show the guys who've committed to us as well. So some good development on those. Novak, 20 in NAHL. We should try to get him out on signing day. And some good development on our roster as well. And we don't want, it's because we're such a, this is a college team. It's all young guys. You probably won't see any players declining. If you see somebody declining, they're not going to have a long pro career. And Jared Moe, the number 8 selling jersey in the country, and we are still in the top 10, but just barely. Yeah, it looks like that's still not working out with the, Princeton's only played a single game, and they're ranked number 1, so I got to work on that a bit more. And player of the month is Ryan O'Reilly, but not that Ryan O'Reilly. This is Ryan O'Reilly of Arizona State. And budget settings, yeah, not a ton of money. I think that can stay about where it is. Made some financial adjustments to college too. There's a couple of things going on there, and the stuff with staff hiring is going to get straightened out. Although I'm not sure how well that's going to work with existing saves. It turned out to some of it has turned out to be a database setting that will probably only be the fixes will probably only work in a new game. Okay, November 1st, on we go. Overkill question in OTP chat. By top three quarters, does it mean the conference or the whole NCAA? I assume you're asking about the team goal for the season. It's the whole NCAA. That would be pretty brutal if we was insisting on always finishing in the top quarter of the Big Ten. That's tough to do even for the good teams. And Wisconsin hasn't been great in the last few years.
And hello to Rit Flyers, who has shown back up. Who says, Wisconsin, eh?
You making fun of the Wisconsin accent?
Wisconsin. In fact, I was in Wisconsin this weekend.
Yeah, I got cousins in Wisconsin too, so I'm allowed to make fun. Well, second cousins.
There we go. Kerr's out. Wisconsin. Everyone I met there has been very, very nice.
I mean, it was a Packers game. Of course, they're going to be happy. Well, I mean, not with the Packers' performance, but the
they won.
Concept of going. Yeah,
they won.
Yeah, but I mean, this year in general.
Yes, but as Jeff points out, I was at the Packers game on the weekend. Yeah. So
slacking off.
I'm sorry. Who is the guy talking about going on vacation here in a couple weeks?
I just think you get to stream 3 weeks in a row.
Oh, everyone's very excited for that.
I'm sure they are.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, Rit Flyers is probably going to join me, aren't you, Rit?
Okay, we got the worst team in the Big Ten. The problem is that's still a pretty good team. Michigan State and... yeah. Not bad. A little lacking on the depth end. And the goaltending. St. Cyr, is he drafted? Don't think so. Yeah, he was taking the OHL draft, but and won a gold medal with the U.S. in the under-18 World Championships, but not drafted by the NHL, and probably a borderline prospect for them. Remember, since I'm playing at the college level, the potential stars are shown relative to this level, so he's not going to be a 3-star, 3.5-star goalie. If you're looking at it from an NHL team, it's probably a borderline prospect at best. But are we ready to go? I think so. I'm going to give McClellan the first start and then start Mo in the second game after we've tired Michigan State out a little bit, and that turned out to be a mistake. We lose 3-2.
And I'll just point out we are very happy with everyone who turns out to our streams.
Yep. Yeah, we've actually been getting pretty good audiences. Well, it always is, but the start of a new game, but pretty good number. Quite a few people watching on Steam last week, if I remember right.
Yeah, we still have quite a few people watching now.
Very good. I wondered if that would drop off if we were, because Valve
we get
to promote the new games a little bit more.
There's about 25 people watching us on Steam right now, so we are watching if you have any questions.
Okay, I'm going to go with Mo and goal. See if we can get that win back. Ouch, 4-3 loss. What went wrong there? Oh, bad 3 defensemen with defensive game ratings under 50. We are missing Coolamans.
Well, yeah, that happens.
And down to 6 out of the 7 in the conference, but still a decent chance of making the playoffs even this far down. You can see some of the other exits. I mean, Atlantic is the one that's all visible on the screen right now. You can see they've got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams under 500 at the moment, and RIT is right at 500. And are we nowhere to be found in the top 10 or top 20? Apparently. Those couple of losses cost us. And Penn State and Minnesota 1-2, both in our conference. Oh, and here we go. National Signing Day coming up. So this is the first. We'll get to show the mechanism for basically sort of the well, it'll do this kind of sort of backwards, because the real order of it is you get the players to commit and then you get them to sign. But just because of the calendar timing in the first year, you get the National Signing Day first, which isn't a problem because you've got players committed already. These are guys who've committed to Wisconsin in real life. So we've got that set up in their data in the game beforehand. It'll vary by the number by your team as to which guys are as to how many guys you've got and the quality of them. But we need a drop down option on this commitment screen to make it a little easier to see the guys you've got. I remember we said Novak was one guy we wanted to get up because he's 20 already, and we do need wingers. So Novak probably first priority. What I will do is just put those on the short list so I can see that there's a grab. Scan's only 16, he's not eligible yet. It's got to be 18 or 17 and up. 17 by the end of December. So they'll be 18 next year. And so those are the guys will be eligible. So Scan I won't be able to draft. Schultz I will be though. Okay, Buckberger, that's another high priority one. And some guys who we may never wind up using. Finley, that's also good. Oh, Whitelaw, yeah, that'll be one of our top future guys, I think. And Funk, no, not really interested. Drafting order, which is partially determined from records over the last few years, with a little bit of a bonus for winning national championships and program reputation. So it's not, this order will move around from season to season, but it's not just a reverse order of standings like an NHL draft would be. This actually rewards success. The better teams, the more prominent teams, the teams that have done well recently, will be at the top.
Comment from the chat says, Cushion says, love the streams. I don't say thank you enough for your guys' time. Go Flyers. Chuck Fletcher could use some practice with this game. LMAO. He says, my Fighting Saints hat came in today.
Oh, nice. Minnesota Fighting Saints. Okay, so we are drafting way down to 32nd, and it isn't even really drafting. You'll see that in a second. The way this works, I click on next nomination, and it tells you who the other teams have nominated. Now, Minnesota State has nominated Lawback, who I'm guessing he's already committed to them. So probably a waste of time to go after him. And it does. I try to get as much information into this little paragraph as we could. That will inform your decision as to whether or not you actually want to go after this guy. So he's a good player, but he's already committed to Minnesota State. He's from California playing for Youngstown in USHL. So nothing we really don't can do about that. So I will check the in, click the no, but continue to ask me about other players. And he winds up signing with Minnesota State. And I'll just do
As was kind of expected.
Okay. We should probably make that default to the last choice you made. Otherwise, that'd make it a little quicker to go through. I'll see if we can do that. I'm just going to keep an eye out here for Wisconsin-born players or somebody that I recognize from our list. Everybody getting their nominees so far.
Is there any way to highlight guys that you have on, like you have committed?
Other than the commitments list, the separate one.
No.
Oh, wait, yeah, actually we do. I forgot about that. And so what did we... Oh, shortlist. Yeah, that's okay. That's how I did it. That's why it's showing up there. Everybody that I've added to the shortlist, which is my top priorities right now, will get that mark in the column. So easy for me to go back when it gets to our turn to.
All right. Excuse me. Question from Mike in the chat. It says, hi, how do you make the print size bigger? I can barely see it. I just got the game not that long ago. I like this print size you have. Mike, are you talking about resolution? Because Jeff, do you know what resolution you're running off offhand?
I got that at 16 by 9 right now.
Yeah, so part of that will depend on if you're running a laptop, what the resolution is.
Yeah,
It could
yeah, go ahead.
It could also be affected if you're running Windows, there's Zoom, whatever the option is. And I'm sorry, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
It's on display options. It's,
yeah.
I can't remember the exact name of how they changed the wording every version
Yeah.
of Windows.
It's defaults, I think, around 125, which does work on most people's, but occasionally some people's zooms go in too far and can make things a little bit more confusing.
And Windows 11 seems to be doing some weird things that we're still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can see here, most of the guys are going to the teams that are nominating them, and the teams will tend to nominate the guys who've made verbal commitments first. So, but in this case, you can see American International had I think it's a Czech guy that they wanted to get and apparently made a verbal commitment to them, but Michigan stole them away. So either Yellow Jackets didn't offer him a scholarship and Michigan did, or some other thing changed his decision and pointed them in their direction. And that's
so Jeff,
happening. And they've also
could you make it?
Another one. Yep.
Could you make an offer to every single player you see come up in this list?
Yep, sure. If I'll check the don't offer him a scholarship option here because this guy will probably go to UMass Lowell. And see, there we go. He turns it down. One thing I should mention we're going to do in the update, or hoping to do, I'm not sure if it'll fit in yet, is having some players just outright reject the offer from every team if they're not getting any scholarship offers, or if rather the team they want to go to doesn't offer them a scholarship, they may wait until the next year. It doesn't do that right now, and it would make more sense for them to do that, so we are going to change that.
Okay.
And actually, I'm just going to...
Kurzov says magnifier as well. So can do to help see things differently.
So what I did there was turn off, I responded to that one and said, don't remind me of any more nominations. So you're going to see a delay the next time I hit next nomination. And eventually it'll pop up there. And Will Smith goes to Ohio State.
West Philadelphia, born and raised?
Apparently. So now we're at our pick. We've got a few guys who are theoretically a little bit better than our top guy, Whitelaw, but I mean, he's ranked pretty high by potential, or pretty close to the top for ability and 5-star potential. We haven't the scouting hasn't caught up to a lot of these guys yet. That'll take a little while to do. That's one issue with the having the draft so early in the first season. But I am going to nominate Whitelaw. And before I do that, you can see down there it tells me how many scholarships I've got, and I'm using all 18 of mine right now. But 4.5 of those are with seniors who'll be leaving next year. So I've got 4.5 scholarships to spend here. And Whitelaw will get a full one, and yep, he's coming to us. That's good.
Excellent.
Now, when I click next nomination, I've already turned the skip nomination off. Maybe I should have a way to put that back. Got to think about that. But you can see there's going to be a delay here. It's much longer than it would take for a normal draft to get to the next pick because every guy is getting competition.
Do you want some of?
So it's got you can go through about 60 odd teams. So it'll take a couple of seconds for us to get to the next pick. There we are, 92nd. One thing in particular it should do, now that I think about it, is force that decision up if it takes one of your committed players, but it hasn't. So our next one will be Finley, I think, who will also get a full scholarship. I want to make sure I get these guys. They're my top guys. Yep. And on to another little bit of weight, so we'll go for Buckberger next, and Novak, and I think I want to grab a goalie after that. I can't remember if we had one on the list. But you can see some of the foreign players are popping up on the list now.
We do not have a goalie.
Yeah, okay. So we're going to have to find one. And there are there any high potential guys? Oh, they got strip mined out of there pretty quick. Oh, Nolan, the guy we were going to watch. Okay, so maybe. Oh, and another thing you got to pay attention to is the int column. That's player intelligence. And if it's particularly low, generally, if it's somewhere under 10, that's kind of a warning sign. If it's considerably below 10, this guy's not going to make it in college, and you're going to have problems getting him eligible to play. He'll probably fail his academic eligibility. And smarter players will tend to prioritize higher academic reputation teams. So that's how the Ivy League teams basically compete, because they've got the higher academic reputation. They don't have scholarships to give out, but the players still want to go there. Okay, so I will grab Novak. He'll be the last guy. Offer a full scholarship. I'll offer the new goalie a half partial scholarship. See, we need a little note down there telling you know how many guys you've signed. You got to keep that, or how many scholarships you've given out in this draft. You have to keep that in your head at the moment. And I also want to check how many graduating seniors do I have. Some were non-scholarships, so 4, 7. So I'm just going to take 7 guys to replace the replace what I'm losing here, which was it'll actually let you take more than that, which was kind of a mistake. Well, I can take more than 7, but I got to keep it under 35. I could probably take about 9, I think, to be safe, to leave room for walk-ons. But we'll be changing that in the update. It'll restrict you to not signing more guys than you can actually fit on your roster the next year. So go. Oh, okay. Wait, I was wrong.
Okay, we could.
I think maybe Whitehead, the Canadian, playing for Lincoln in the USHL. What were you going to say?
I can say our goalies are senior, junior, sophomore. So, I mean, we could hypothetically lose 2 of them.
Yeah, Mo might sign. So,
well, this is Mo's last year. He's senior. So he's done for sure.
Oh, he's done for sure. Okay. Oh, so yeah, okay. I think I'm going to go for what? Try Whitehead. Oh, actually, wait, before I do that. Oh, he's committed to Northeastern. That might make him more difficult. Maybe there's a... Oh, actually, Lane is going to college in Canada. Maybe I should change that and committed to Northern Michigan, though. That would be real data.